Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And today, our special guest is Sophia Reamsnyder. And I was very worried that I would not say your name right. I'm not going to lie. I had sweaty palms and everything. I was like, oh, please say it right. How are you today? It's so nice to see you again.
I'm doing well. It's nice to see you too. It's a little windy here in Colorado, but good other than that.
Is it? Yeah, we getting a rainstorm here, so you never know what the
Ah,
weather's going to bring us, do you?
right? Oh, it's been crazy.
It has. Well, I am so happy that you're here with us. We have so much to talk about today. When I first met you, we started to talk and then it just went bigger and bigger and bigger. And I'm like, girl, you are involved in so much stuff. You are a rock star. I tell you, I think it's wonderful because, it's like, I didn't really want to, but I did. And now look at me. So I would love for you to share a little bit about kind of the story that brought you to where you are today. Touching on, we talk about being unstoppable, and unstoppable isn't the push and the pull, it's the being, and you have really embraced that. So I would love for you to share a little bit about yourself.
I really don't like to.
I know you don't. I know you don't.
The whole thing, and I've realized that I have to get over that fear. That's something that is huge that I love to talk about is using fear as kind of a weapon to find something beautiful on the other side. And that's really kind of what I did with my life. I was facing significant health challenges quite a few years ago. Well, not even quite a few years ago. It's less than 4 years ago that this all
Yeah.
started. I went from, being a very active person to overnight being unable to walk for almost a year under my own assistance. I couldn't even put on my own clothing because my hands were so affected. I had skin just kind of peeling off my body. And through all of this, all I could think about was, man, I want to get healthy so I can go and make a difference someday. And then I realized I can't wait. I can't wait until I'm healthy because what happens if I don't get healthy?
Yeah.
Um, so when I got sick, I ended up taking a leave of absence from school, from our business, and I was out for about 3 or 4 months. And one day I was just kind of like, I need to finish this. I need to finish my school. I need to get this done so that we can move on with our lives, move on to the next step. And so for me, that was kind of my healing path is let's set a goal. What's going to be this week's goal? What's going to be this month's goal? What's going to be this year's goal? And I just kept setting little goals to do things. And one of them was to graduate from college. And so I did that all while being hospitalized on and off for significant periods of time. And we were trying to build a business. Um, we we started our business a week before the world shut down for COVID,
So I
and
just I just want to, I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to. So 4 years ago was COVID. COVID
mhm,
that was when it was all beginning, and that's when you started getting sick.
yeah,
So the world is shutting down. You're getting sick. You can't walk. You're still trying to complete things that you'd already opened up, like your business is starting and your college, and the world is now shut down.
yes, that was it was very interesting. I say interesting because it's the only appropriate word that I can think of right now.
Uh-huh.
It was a very interesting situation because all through my hospitalizations, all through my illness, everything was about COVID. except for the simple
Yes.
fact that I did not have COVID.
Right.
And it actually delayed my treatment significantly by almost a year because the world was so wrapped around COVID that they couldn't think beyond that. And it was very frustrating. And it took a lot of advocating for myself to be
Yeah.
able to find answers.
Like, you know, I have my own COVID story. My dad died in the hospital alone when
Sorry.
because of COVID. Um, thank you for that, but that's not why I'm bringing it up. It's just the reason of the frustration. I know how I felt, and I'm sure your family, you couldn't be with anybody in the hospital. So you were not only not knowing what was wrong with you were in a hospital pretty much alone and still
Mhm.
trying to deal with, and no one was really even worrying about you. Like,
It was
how, mm,
It was it's still completely unbelievable, to this day that everything that happened around that whole situation because it was like my doctors were, "Hmm, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you." And it was kind of like, "Really? I'm dying, and your answer is, 'I don't know. Sorry about your luck.'"
that's just, I'm
Hmm.
at a loss for words. Sophia, I just think that you sitting here today speaking about this, that is the definition of unstoppable right there. Because you were not taking no for an answer and you did not let fear, that roadblock, stop you. You were like, absolutely not. We're moving forward. So tell me more about what you do after that. Like, what did you do to make this change?
Well, we actually ended up moving from Virginia, where we were living at the time, back to Colorado, just because the healthcare situation was so ridiculous, and I wasn't getting any kind of answers. Um, they had diagnosed me with adult onset Kawasaki's disease, which is typically in children of Asian descent. I am neither of those.
No.
And was that was their best guess. So, the first doctor that I saw here in Colorado, was my primary care doctor, and I told her, "I don't agree with these previous diagnoses. This is what I think I have. Here's who I wanna see. I'll do whatever testing you want. Just put these referrals in." Because up to that point, nobody was looking at the significant weight loss that I was having because I was classified as an obese woman. So losing a little bit of weight, they were like, "Oh, it's no problem. You're going to be fine." No, I was not fine. It was um,
Oh,
yes, it's all those things that you hear about. I was being gaslit by my doctors. I was not being acknowledged. They knew something was wrong, but they weren't doing anything to help it. And so I started doing research. I was back in college, so I had access to all the databases that I could get my hands on.
thank
And
goodness.
right? Somebody needed to do the research.
Right?
So I had ideas about what I had. I went to see a rheumatologist, a dermatologist, and a GI specialist. Um, Within 2 to 3 visits of all of those doctors, they concluded that I was correct in everything that I thought I had. Which was several types of psoriasis, psoriatic arthritis, and a Crohn's type bowel disease. The one thing that I had no idea that I had that was causing the significant weight loss is I had contracted C. diff, which is a highly contagious intestinal disease that could have killed me. I had it for a year before anybody even found out about it. And that's what caused the significant unexplained weight loss. That and the fact that my gallbladder started shutting down because of the weight loss.
Oh
So
my Lord.
we found all these things out. Took another 9 months to see all those doctors, get all those tests. And then it took us another 6 months for insurance to approve the biological medication to try to put these suckers in remission. And That was 2 years ago, and now today I'm in 100% remission for all but one of my conditions. So it's been it's been a process.
You know what? Like, that's a standing ovation right there, let me tell you, because without your perseverance and without your strength, because that had to come from, you know, I don't know if I could have done that. I don't know many women, many people. Once you're told something, we trust. We trust. We do. We trust what they tell us. We trust what is being said, and we just go with it. And that's not a fault. That is just what happens.
Mhm.
And to, yeah, I'm at a loss for words, Sophia. I just think that thank God you had the strength inside to say, oh, no, 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 this is not the end for me. I am on a mission. I have a purpose, and I am going to get my story out there. Being as afraid as you are to stand in your power and speak about yourself, because you're great at helping other people, because I know what you do. But and we're going to get to that, but you went through that in 4 years in the worst time of this world, being
Mhm.
shut down and getting no answers and having to do this pretty much on your own.
Yeah, well, I was my drive behind that was really my family. There was a point where I was having pericardial effusions, so a buildup of fluid around my heart, which feels like a hippopotamus is sitting on your chest all the time. Shortness of breath. It was very uncomfortable, and that's when that was actually the first time that I was afraid. And that was like 8 months after the onset of everything. And I was afraid because I was worried that my small twins were going to wake up in the morning and find mom dead in her bed. And when I had that thought, when I cried myself to sleep over those things, I was like, we have to figure out what's going on because that is not acceptable.
No, it's not. Oh my gosh. I am so happy to see you and talk to you and meet you and have you here, because you, my dear, are a force. And I know that there's so many women out there that have had experiences where they just don't know where to turn. We listen to the doctors or we listen to others, whatever it is, and we're not getting the answers, and we just take that as okay. It's not okay. It's not okay. And you get to stand up for what you believe in. And yes, you did the research, but did they have, or did you, I should say, not them, did you figure out how all of this was triggered at the same time? Like, what was the cause of that trigger? Because, you're going along, you're active, you're doing your thing, and then all of a sudden, bam, you can't walk. And bam, right? Like, what?
Yes, so this was actually the amusing part. The chain reaction that kind of started this was getting the COVID shot. That was the first thing. There has been a lot of research out there that it has impacted autoimmune conditions in a significant number of people. So that was my first clue. And my body had also been recovering from neck surgery. I had a couple vertebrae fused because I had started losing and lost feeling in my right arm, and I had started losing it in my left arm, and I was having debilitating headaches. But the surgery went great. I was feeling fantastic, better than I had in years. It was phenomenal. We went to the beach because we were still living in Virginia, and I spent just a little bit too much time in the sun. That's all it was. Um, I got some kind of heat stroke. I don't remember getting back to the hotel room. I've had to have my husband fill in the blanks many times. There's just a certain point of the day that I don't remember anything, and then I remember waking up the next day. When I woke up that next day, I felt like someone had poured lava in my throat. It hurt so bad. So on our way back from the beach, I went to the urgent care and they're like, you have tonsillitis. I'm like, okay, no big deal. Like, no big deal, right? It's just tonsillitis. Well, upon my research, tonsillitis, strep throat, is a huge trigger for psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis. So, my connection is that tonsillitis that I had is what started all of this because within 48 hours, my hands started to peel. It looked like I had put them in some kind of chemical solution. And that's that's what it was. It was the tonsillitis that triggered it. And my daughter got sick with stroke or with strep last year, and I ended up having an outbreak because I caught strep. And so it made me flare up. And
Oh,
so now I have to be really careful about not catching either one of those two things.
hmm,
So very
absolutely.
interesting.
Right? Why would you even think that those would be related either, right? Like, you
Not
wouldn't.
at all. No, not unless you research diseases and you know that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
No.
Well, let's fast forward a little bit. Let's go to, okay, you just started a business just when this all was blowing up. And
Yes.
now it's 2026 and you're a rock star. You've been doing some big things.
We've been
Eh,
trying.
You have. And you know what? Let's remember that this was a woman who was scared. She was afraid. You had your whole body was shutting down on you and you didn't know why and no one was helping. So in that fear, you still you helped yourself. You got aligned and you really moved forward and you didn't let anything stop you. So now you're in a place of a total transformation. You have created something and you and your husband work together. Am I correct?
Yes.
Which is amazing, which is just amazing. So tell us a little bit about that too. I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so we actually started our business March of 2020. The first week of March, and then everybody knows what happens after that.
Hmm.
COVID shut everything down, and then I got sick. And so our business really sat on the shelf for almost 2.5, 3 years. What we were doing behind the scenes was educating ourselves, trying to become the best photographers that we could at the time. That was not Chris, my husband's cup of tea. He is an amazing individual, but does not care for people quite as much. Um,
Okay. Hmm. Which, hey, we all
we
have that. We all have something,
well,
right? And that's okay.
we're pretty well known in our network of people for being very introvert, for having people hangovers after dealing with people, and so it was clear from the start that he was never going to take on the client facing side, which was
Right.
completely fine because he takes care of the stuff like the websites, or when I have a crazy idea he figures out how to do it, the right equipment. So it's this really nice balance that we have. And then in 2023, Chris had mentioned in passing that he was interested in doing video. I was like, that's cool, man. I don't want anything to do with that. Like, it was literally our conversation. I was like, we have so much on our plates. And at that time, I was actually studying for the LSATs because I wanted to go to law school. I wanted to pursue my law degree. And I was like, that's just too much. I don't want to learn all this stuff. Like, you're ridiculous. How dare you even bring something like that up? And then I thought about it for a couple of days. And I was like, this man has supported me in everything that I wanted to do. You want to go back to school? Okay, let's do it. You want to start a business? Okay, let's do it. You want to start writing this story about a zombie apocalypse that features our family? Why not? So I came to him and I was like, all right, fine. Let's do this. Let's do the video thing. But then when you're ready to retire from your 9 to 5, it's all yours. I don't want it. It's too much
Right.
work. Well, then I got my first story. I came home and I told him, "You can't have it. It's
Right.
mine. Sorry. You can help, but it's mine."
It's yours. That's
And
right.
it's a good thing. And we work. We don't get to work as much together as I would like to because he's still working a 9 to 5. I was fortunate enough to be able to step away from my legal position last January to do this full time. Um, and so I try to get him in on as many projects as possible, but it's just not enough for me. It needs to be more.
Yeah.
And we started developing these relationships. I started listening to people, really listening.
Mhm.
That's something that I had always shied away from my entire life was listening to people. It just felt like a lot of work, and people were always talking to me. Even when my twins were little, they would always question, "Mommy, why are people just always coming up and speaking with you?" I'm like, "I have no idea." Like, I don't know
Well,
what
you
the
just
deal
have that
is.
energy. You just have that
I
energy about
do.
but you do, and you're easy to talk to, and you're very, like, calm, and I think that you said you were an introvert, so I think part of that comes from you're calm because you're just you don't want the attention, you don't want the so you just kinda take but you have something in it that attracts people, so don't hide that, girl. Don't hide
Yes.
it.
Well, no, I have fully embraced that now.
Yes, you
Um,
have.
I had to. If I wanted to be successful in the types of videos and films that we wanted to produce, I had to make people feel comfortable with me, and so I had to open myself up to that. I had to accept that that's part of who I am. And so I did. And we started attracting these incredible stories. And right now we're working on several documentaries, a couple involving invertebrates, one involving women and children's health, and using theater as a way to protect their future, to name
Mhm.
emotions. Um,
Love that.
it's just it's incredible. I enjoy every single part of what we're doing, and I can't wait for people to actually see what it is that we're working on.
I think it's a beautiful, beautiful story, and, I do want you to share the one story about when you went away. I really want you to share that. When you went away and was it, Africa, or where did you say you went?
Yes,
Like,
I went to Tanzania.
Tanzania.
So we are working with an organization here in Colorado that has global conservation efforts all over the world, and their niche is invertebrates, which invertebrates are anything from spiders, bees, butterflies, to a lot of things you find in the ocean. This particular story in Tanzania was about bees and elephants. So basically, what they're doing in Tanzania is they are setting up bee fencing. It's two poles with a beehive and then tripwire. So the elephant walks into the village, trips the wire, the bees come out. And you might think, well, why is that important? It's important because elephants are afraid of bees.
Which is wild,
the,
isn't
mo-
it?
the most random thing I ever thought I would hear. And it's really what sparked all of this, all of the documentaries that we eventually got involved with was this, how is an elephant so afraid of something so tiny? And again, that theme of fear was right there.
Mhm.
So now in Africa, they're using these beef fences to mitigate the human-elephant conflict. The people are living, the elephants are living, the crops are growing, and now they have this commodity of honey to sell. And it's this whole community that's coming together to do it. And I am terrified of bees, spiders, um, pretty much anything that anybody considers creepy crawly is on my fear list.
On your fear list.
It's on my fear list, but that doesn't mean that I can't find something beautiful in that fear. And that's exactly what I found in all of these stories where I was afraid of the subject was wow, there's actually something quite incredible going on here. And pushing through that fear really helped me be able to see that. And I'm hoping that that shows when people see this too, that, hey, you can still be afraid, but maybe we should uplift these little guys a little bit.
And the fear and your whole story is about fear. You know,
Mhm.
you were an introvert. You were afraid to talk to people. You didn't want to be seen. But there's a bigger plan for you because you've been brought out to be able to see and to share the story of an unstoppable woman facing her fears. You face
Yes,
them and you're
I
going
did.
to Tanzania terrified of bees and they're building bees. Like they're taking bees and they're like, oh my goodness, and you're around them. Like what you can't not be if you're, if you're filming and you're documenting all of this. Like like honestly, this is beautiful. It really is. And I'm so sorry that you went through what you did. I do know that it made you stronger. And it,
Mhm.
like myself, it gave you a purpose. And I feel like when we go through something that's difficult, we have a choice. Do we go
Mhm.
through it and allow it to just be what it is, or do we go through it fighting and finding out what the purpose was? Why
Yeah,
is this happening? It's happening for a reason. We know that. Why is this happening? And
absolutely.
you discovered your why, and now you know what your purpose is. And I think that that is so important to share for people because, yes, I talk about being unstoppable, but fear can stop us in our tracks. Guilt, shame, there's a lot of things. But when you're afraid of something and you were hit with everything all at once, you had to speak up for yourself. You
Had
had
to.
to. There was no other option. So you stood in that and you found that power from within inside and you took it on. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. And I couldn't be happier to have met you and to have you here on this podcast. And I would love to have you back when you are showing off all of those documentaries so that we can share them with the world because, girl, you need to remember that you're making a difference, and that's what this is about.
Oh,
Thank you.
absolutely. I agree with that, and thank you so much. Um, Last year when I first shared my story, the response was phenomenal. We released a short documentary about the whole health struggle and the amount of women that reached out to me that were going through or had went through the same thing. Different disease doesn't matter. They were
Mm-mm.
experiencing the gaslighting. They were experiencing the, oh, you're just fat. Lose some
Yeah,
weight, things will get
yeah.
better. And it made me feel a sense of responsibility that as uncomfortable as it made me feel, if my story can even help one person to make their life better or to find their why after, then it's going to be worth it.
And you have, and you have. You've touched many, many lives. You've touched my life, and I'm sure you're touching every single listener's life as well.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you so much. And, I see that your husband's going to be starting to, not have to do the 9 to 5. You're going to be blowing this up, this video stuff that you didn't want to do. I love it. Oh, I love this. Okay, everyone. Well, thank you so much. And I'm going to have all of Sophia's information in our show notes. So if you do want to get a hold of her and if you hear something in her story, please reach out. Or if you know someone that's struggling with something similar to this, reach out. Thank you for listening today and have a beautiful day. Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode because your journey to unstoppable starts now.